Hi everybody and welcome to the Pinball Post. This is episode 28, and tonight's show might be the worst that we have ever done. Not true. We're going to have a great show. Let's get started. Alright, hope you liked the new intro. A little different. I started to play around a little bit with some different ideas and different things going on there. So that is what it is. You only need one ball for greatness. Had to add it. So let's get into it. We got a great show. Welcome Leon, Fat Hog, Wingo, Soggy Bacon. Happy Wednesday all. What's up folks and lots of waves. Great to have you guys. I know it's been in Snowmageddon in very much of the country, quite frankly. Really from the it's just been crazy. So hopefully you guys are with power, nice and warm, cozy. Hopefully you got a drink of choice and you can sit and watch this show tonight. So Pinball Post, as we like to do, we're going to cover everything we can in the real and digital pinball world, and just kind of go through everything. Stein the Man, I'm glad you're here because I am sick and tired of you beating my scores last second. So John Fritz, welcome everybody. So yeah, Stein the Man, you had a great score on Moonflight. I thought I beat it, so I go ahead and I play a game of Moonflight. I beat you, and then next time I look, it was like 10 minutes later, right after dinner, I come back up here and you beat me again. So hey, what it is, man. Great score. I might take a stab at it here a little bit later. Chalada Love, where you been, man? Welcome. How we doing? Good to see you, man. Long time no see as far as streams go. So good to have you back. We're gonna get into it a little bit. We're going to start off with the new news on the real pinball side. There was actually some pretty exciting news on that side first, so we'll cover some of that, and then we'll get into some of the typical stuff that we like to do. Stein, the Man, don't look now. Yeah, I know, you already beat me, but if it's even worse now, it probably is, but at any rate. What's the internal temperature of a tauntaun? Lukewarm? Psych, I don't even know what you're talking about. It's got to be a Star Wars reference of some sort. I don't know, man. Okay, so we covered a lot in this last week. So we're going to go over things like Flipper Friends. We're going to go over the Gottlieb refresh and what that entails, what that looks like. We're going to have to go into a little bit of what Pinball Bites happened. We had quite a big show on Thursday and kind of the fallout that happened with that. I know. The AtGames interview was a topic of discussion as of last week as well. And of course, we have the X Arcade Haptics kit to talk about as well. But first off, new news in the world of real pinball. So let's get started. This is probably I don't know if it's one of the most exciting things, but it was certainly something to get talking about. And welcome Pinball Wizard, my moderator, one of my best compatriots, awesome person in my Discord, on my YouTube channel. Definitely subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. We're trying to get him to 50 subs. He's getting close. So give him a sub if you haven't already. Pinball Wizard, put your YouTube channel in the chat so that you can get some more subs. We want to get you up to 50 and get you streaming. So lots of good news this week. So let's get into it first. I know I've said that 3 times now, so I apologize. All right, American Pinball. So American Pinball, as you know, has had kind of a bad year, really. We haven't seen much from them as of late, but really they've had some really good games. Barrio's Barbecue, Houdini, and my personal favorite, Galactic Tank Force, which is an absolutely awesome game if you've ever played it. Looks like a little tank and folds up in the whole bit. There's some signature copies. It's a Barry Orsler game. Really, really awesome game. The vibration, the shaker motors, it's a fantastic game if you've ever played it. So if you haven't played it, definitely check it out. But American Pinball really hasn't done much in 2025. In fact, they were kind of laughed at, quite frankly, at the Chicago Expo that I was at, because they brought something called Whirlo-Ball, which is basically a skee ball game to a pinball show. So that was pretty not so great, let's frankly. So this news came out on the 26th, so a couple days ago, and I first seen this on Flippin' Out Pinball, so definitely give them a sub if you haven't already. They are a pinball distributor, some great guys over there, Jared and Joel, and Greg Bone, and some of those different people. They're absolutely awesome people. They brought this. I seen this first thing in the morning, and I had to post it everywhere I could think of. But American Pinball and Planetary Pinball Supply have announced a long-term partnership. Now, we don't know the duration of that, to produce classic Williams and Bally pinball games. Talk about a huge news. Really awesome to hear. Now, what that means is Chicago Gaming Company, or Chicago Gaming, has already been doing this. So CGC has already done Medieval Madness, Cactus Canyon, Attack from Mars. So we've seen those games remade, and even Cactus Canyon has even some additional modes. They have like a spinner insert that you can put in as a way to add additional value and modes to those games. American Pinball is going to be doing, and they're the owner, the guy who bought it is Brian Vincent, who's a huge Williams Bally fan. He did an interview actually with Cary Hardy that I watched yesterday. And I put a link to the description or a link to that video in the description of this video. It was a fantastic interview. It runs a little over an hour, but he talks about all the different things and kind of his dream systems, his dream games. They're talking that for an original IP coming from American Pinball will probably not be until the first part of next year. However, they're thinking at the end of Q2, possibly Q3, that they'll produce their first classic remake game this year. So we're talking really 3-4 months from now, into the fall at worst. But yeah, definitely, we're going to be getting some American Pinball classics from American Pinball, Williams and Bally classics. So this could be things like Totan. It could be Circus Voltaire. It could be your Champions Pubs. It could be... I can't imagine that they would go back and do the same ones that Chicago Gaming has already done. It just doesn't make any sense. So my top pick, honestly, would probably be something like a Circus Voltaire. And maybe they have a different take on it. Maybe they remove the DMD from the actual back of the playfield. Maybe they do a little bit more with the back of the playfield. There's all kinds of things that they could actually do. They call them reimaginings, Fat Hog. They're not necessarily remakes. They say distribute reimagined games. So Chicago Gaming, like you said, it was kind of doing remakes, but they did do some tweaks on them as well. So yes, these are considered reimaginings. So it's going to be really interesting to see what that looks like from American Pinball. But man, it's exciting. They talked a little bit about the logo, whether or not it would change back, or if it looks like they're maybe in talks to maybe change that or whatever it is. But Play the Adventure makes perfect sense for a pinball game. But Brian Vincent really seems like a really good guy. He definitely loves his pinball. He knows his pinball. And he wants games to be great at American Pinball. So hopefully we'll see a revival of them. Hopefully we start seeing some really good IPs from them. Like I said, I really like Galactic Tank Force. And one of the things he said initially is the first thing they're going to do is fix the code for Galactic Tank Force, which I think is awesome. He's not seeing it as we're going to start fresh and just move forward and just alienate all our customers. No, he's going to take care of you. He also talked about some customization available for these pinball machines as before they come out. So you can kind of do a la carte type of stuff. He said basically if you wanted powder coated legs, for example, if you wanted a red powder coat for one of the games or something like that, you could do that before you buy the game. So some really cool options there that you wouldn't have to necessarily do the customized stuff. So really cool to see. Oh, let's see. I'm missing on the chat, which is great. I'm glad you guys are all chatting up a storm here. He multitasks. How many streams do you on? Little Alien, yes, he is everywhere, and he is awesome for that. I have never asked him to moderate my channels because I know how busy he is. So Pinball Wizard got that nomination for me, and he's done a fantastic job. So it literally mods all of them. That's right. He multitasks like a 32-core CPU. Great interview last week with AG. Thank you, Arcade Jam Gaming. Yes, we're going to talk a lot about that too. So we've had a lot of stuff going on in the pinball world, but that was the biggest news in the world of real pinball. American Pinball redoing and reimagining some Williams Bally classics. Certainly you want to see that. Lots of stuff going on. Like a 3D character on the table has a hologram ever been done of a real pin. That would be a really cool feature if done right. Hologram, sort of soggy bacon. I mean, you've got your Revenge from Attack from Mars, so you got that Pepper's Ghost kind of a thing, and then Winchester kind of does some of that too. We've also seen it on Phantom Menace, Star Wars, Episode 1, right? That was kind of an Attack from Mars, right? So, yeah. Billy Woods Mods got to bounce. I'll fill it in you later. All right, man. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for stopping by. So, yeah. That was the stuff for this week's Real Pinball, and let's get into the next thing, Flipper Friends. So, Flipper Friends, as you know, it is what it is. We'll start off with last week's winners. So, this is the last week's winner from last week. We had Dicyclos, part of our Discord, was the big winner between the 100 and 500 rankings, so he got within that. The rest of these names I'm not familiar with. I thought maybe I would pick up a couple of them, but I have not seen them. So, congrats to all the winners for Flipper Friends in this last week. But yeah, they continued to do all these gift cards, and they did preface this by saying that they are not available for purchase on on-device purchases as of yet, but eventually they will be. So that's going to be a thing. And then, of course, the games we are talking about this week. Actually, a really good lineup this week. This week's lineup was actually Darius, Dinosaur Dynasty, and Nature's Fury. So, 3 great games from the AtGames library, quite frankly. Darius, being one of the Taito games from Pack 1, is probably the best Taito game in the entire pack. I rated that an absolute 10. And then Nature's Fury is also a 10 from me. Nature's Fury is a fantastic game. It does have some crashing issues at times, so you really have to be careful on that one. Always make sure that the ROM fully loads, and it seems to help. I don't really have it crash very often. I scored just under 500 million on this game the other day, and on Monday night. Or no, yesterday I guess it was. Monday night I was at church. So, but yeah, Nature's Fury, fantastic game. It's all multi-ball. There are some really cool modes if you want to do them. They're okay, but not as near as profitable as the multi-ball, obviously. And then Dinosaur Dynasty. Well, Dinosaur Dynasty, sadly, is not one that I particularly care for. I just got done scoring 1 billion points on it just a little bit ago on the HDP. But we'll jump over to the, see if I can get this to show up right. Yeah, just barely. Kind of does. This is a little messed up. So look at that. Anyway, that is Dinosaur Dynasty. You can see I am number 10 on the back glass, believe it or not. I just fell short of Skulljoe's 1 billion, 1.5 billion, or whatever, 1.15 billion. So, sadly, this game is all about that upper playfield. This guy right here is completely exploitable, and I exploited the heck out of it just like everybody else. So, it is what it is. Sadly, that game, it is what it is, man. But Dinosaur Dynasty, pretty good game. Let me know your thoughts on these games. Is there one you particularly like or dislike? For me, Darius was the one that I played on Saturday. Saturday and Sunday I really put some good effort into. Finally got a good score. I was actually number 1 on Flipper Friends for a short time before actually being dethroned, actually. So that was kind of a thing. I'm going to jump over to the internet and we will look at the PhilPal, which is the live rankings for this real quick. So here we are on PhilPal, and you'll notice I'm currently 6th. Darius is... the top score is 4 million points on that game, which is actually pretty staggering. You really have to be incredibly consistent on this game to get anything over 1 million points on Darius, so it's a really awesome game. I didn't exploit it yet. My paltry score was modes and combos. Congratulations, Pinball Wizard. Dinosaur Dynasty is actually a pretty fun game if you actually do the modes. There is some quality there. Some of the modes actually do alternating shots, which is something we really don't see a lot of in the more complicated games. Kind of like, it's equivalent to kind of the deluxe tables based on the number of flippers and such like that. Flip Pal. I always say Phil Pal. Flip Pal. Technically, it's Flip Al, but I don't want to Flip Al. So, but whatever. You know what? Dinosaur Dynasty, you can see here. I mean, the scores are just absolutely insane on this thing. I mean, you can see it. They escalate pretty quickly in the top 3. I was about a $500 million, and I'm like, do I keep going? Do I say screw it? I kept going, and I actually had a terrible second ball. Only $35 million on my second ball, and then came back with $700 million on my final ball to take second place. So it is what it is. The current ranks are Spartacus, Sacro, Cyril, Wizard626, who's always up in the top 5. Skulljoe, myself, Stein the Man, who's in the chat, is tearing it up as well. Uriah, Brock, Pinball Wizard 2023, who we never see playing Flipper Friends. So it is good to see you back, my brother. Great scores this week. Keep it up, and we'll see if you can stay in the top 10. It's a great week, great tables, and then, of course, Papa Brad rounding out the top 10. So really cool to see. Flipper Friends can be really, really good and really, really bad sometimes, but this is a really good week. Great games across the board. Really can't fault anything that they're doing. Love it. So, all right. Next up, let's talk about the Gottlieb refresh. So, the Gottlieb refresh has spawned a little bit from the AtGames interview that I did last week on the 23rd, last Thursday. Or, I'm sorry, it aired. I did the interview on Thursday, but it aired on Friday night. I was there last week in number 7. I feel like I play It Depends on the Table. All right, I didn't even see you there, Pinball Wizard. That's amazing. I don't know what I ended up last week. I think I was just outside the top 10, if I recall. Stupid Space Invaders, don't get me started. For you people who love Space Invaders, I don't know how you do it, man. My best game was 190,000, and it crashed on me. And when anytime I tried after that, I felt like I was having a better game, and I still only got 125,000 points. So it was what it was. But at any rate, that was it. So the interview with Scott Shelton, if you have not seen it, I put a link in the description as well. This was a wonderful interview. It runs a little, just short of an hour. But this is the first time that we've had access to the people at AtGames for a long, long time. I can't remember the last time that AtGames has done any type of interview, so this was really awesome to see. I've gotten to converse with Scott quite a few times over the course of the last few months, and really would consider him a friend now. He is really an awesome guy. We've talked about everything from table design to just the process, how things are going. I mean, it's a really good relationship, quite frankly. Awesome guy. You could see in this interview his passion for pinball. He was a former Farsight employee and has done, I think he said he worked in this industry for over 35 years, so he definitely knows his stuff. He's done a lot of recreations of actual tables, so things like Cactus Canyon and Victory and all those tables that were done by Farsight back in the day. He actually went through and did all the tutorials. I won't give away the entire interview, but it was an awesome access to talk to him. It was not live, and we wanted to do that to make sure this is the first time we had access to AtGames. We certainly didn't want to destroy them or do anything there to make anything good, but I think in the end, it was a fantastic interview. A lot of great things were brought up, and in the end, he dropped a bombshell on us that the Gottlieb games would get a full graphical refresh. And so, super exciting to hear. We know that some of those tables, they're not the greatest, right? The Bone Busters in particular, graphically is pretty hard to play. It's got a really tough way about it to be able to see the depth of the table, and that's been really tough for Bone Busters and a few others. There's quite a few of these tables that have scoring issues. Hopefully they'll go ahead and fix some of those as well. The Gottlieb's refresh is one of the most exciting things on the horizon for the 4KP. Soggy Bacon, I am right with you, man. I didn't expect them to announce that day. They had told me prior, and I was going to keep it quiet, but he dropped it on me, and I was like, okay, well, that's awesome. I didn't expect that. So, Scott, you tricked me on that one, and I love you for it, man. So, that was awesome. obviously doing it on my show really means a lot to me. So I did gain probably 30 subscribers from this interview, I think, in that last few days. So really since last Friday. So it certainly has been great for my channel. So again, thank you to AtGames for that type of access, and for just giving me access to them to be able to talk shop and just converse about all the things that we love in this community, namely the games, the hardware, everything about it. So with this, they have talked to me the last couple of days. They want me to do an interview with Talent Pop, their customer service representatives. So that one could get a little dicey. As you know, customer service at AtGames has not traditionally always been the greatest. Now they are large, as we've mentioned in the past, they are largely a hardware company, but they are now doing software. So you got somebody like a Scott Shelton who is doing AtGames Originals. We distinctly talked about Firefighter Wildlands, Baby Shark, and Ninja Turtles, and he mentioned in the interview that he has 2 more tables that he is currently working on, one of which is a natural history table. So I'm super excited about that. The natural history tables are, to this day, some of the best titles on the system. So, Pinball Wizard, you were saying, I don't know the details, but it sounds like AtGames Magic Pixel are handling the refresh. That is actually incorrect. So, Farsight is actually handling the refresh. So, Scott Shelton, as you know, came from Farsight, and they still have a relationship with a lot of the people from Farsight. Now, as we know, Farsight doesn't necessarily work on pinball creations of any kind anymore. However, they are going to do this as a kind of a passion project to update and refresh these games graphically. I hope that they do scoring. I hope they'll tweak physics here and there. I don't know the specifics of what that refresh will necessarily mean, but we do know, I did confirm with PK that this refresh will be, it is going to be a priority. I don't know the release schedule or dates or anything like that, but they will be available for free to current owners of the Gottlieb tables. So that is fantastic news. I mean, I can't speak highly enough of that, quite frankly, but that is some really good news. And I didn't expect him to be okay with whether or not I could announce that they were going to come to the HD and the 4K, but that is confirmed. They are going to come to all systems. So we're going to have it on the 4KP, the HDP, the Micro, and the HD system by itself. So definitely, for you guys that were worried about that not coming to the HD, the HDP, or the Micro, they are in fact coming to that. It's not just a 4K exclusive. So, and they will be free to current owners of those games. So, awesome. It does buy some good faith. Fat Hog, you're absolutely right. Those games, as you know, were bad enough that we actually requested them to not be part of Flipper Friends because of the scoring issues. And they actually did it. So they took them out of Flipper Friends. They actually took away the calendars like we asked them to do. I know some of us, including yourself, I think have... Leon, I believe it was like, man, I really miss the calendars. Some of us definitely miss the calendars, but it also is very, very nice to get shadow drops of games during a week. So that has been really awesome, quite frankly. So, Little Alien, I look forward to the refresh. It is my hope that they keep AI to a minimum. There are so many better assets available for back glasses that I hope they utilize. The back glasses are awful. I wouldn't think that they would change any of the artwork per se, but you're right, graphical refreshes. So who knows? Maybe that's the case. I would think that they would stay pretty true to the pretty close to the existing artwork, but maybe not. Maybe I misinterpreted that. So that would be interesting. Oh wow, I just assumed that Scott mentioned it. Since Scott mentioned it, for Pinball Wizard. Yeah, he has a really good relationship, Scott Shelton does, with Magic Pixel, and he praised them with how good they've been working with him on the AtGames originals. He also mentioned that they are pretty good about doing... that they were happy to rework and work with him on a lot of different things, and they've taught him a lot of stuff with the new systems and the new games and things like that. So refreshed Gottliebs would make a lot more likely to play for Flipper Friends. Yes, and they would be part of the unified Flipper Friends, right? So they would be available to all 4 systems right off the bat. Things that we can't say about Zen. Those games are not available currently on HDP, even though they're slated to come to HDP. And of course, they're not available to HD or Micro. So certainly that's a thing. Human says, oh no, weekly grind ends tonight. I'll be back. You're right. You got about an hour and a half, buddy. Go and do it. If you are playing in the daily grind, definitely get those scores in. This is the end of the week, so everything resets. We're also going to, we got a couple more days on the real pinball, and we're going to cover that at the end of tonight too. Who's in what place and where the scores are and everything, and we'll cover all of that. But the next topic we have to talk about is Pinball Bites. So you'll be happy to get a remastered Black Hole. Oh, dude, man, that is one of my absolute favorites of the Gottlieb games. My 3 favorite games that I want to see refreshed are Wipeout, Victory, and Black Hole. So I'm right with you on that. Deadhead Dahlias. I don't know if I got that right. I apologize. I'm terrible at these. And then Chilada's Love says, I just hope they fix the scoring issues, including post-scoring and crashes. Absolutely, Chilada Love. I think it would be really senseless to clean up these games and then have them crash anyway all the time. So you got to figure they have to do that. That's an absolute necessity. At any rate, is the Gottlieb update coming from Farsight, or is that being subcontracted out since most of the people left Farsight? I'm not exactly sure. I think it's kind of going to be done in their own time frame. I don't have any release schedules or anything, like no specifics, obviously. But the fact that they are coming is very exciting. The way I look at it right now, between the EM Plus games and the Gottlieb games coming to the 4KP and the AtGames ecosystem, you got to figure there's probably roughly 50 games coming to the AtGames system this year, conservatively. And that's not counting anything we get from Zen. And I really didn't consider any games coming from the Deluxe series, which I know there's going to be a bunch there. I know of at least 6. We just got Locomotive Deluxe today, or Locomotion Deluxe today on Zachariah, so that is probably going to come as well. We've already talked about Winter Sports Deluxe with the greatest call-outs ever. Aerobatics Deluxe, Devil Riders Deluxe. We got Granada Deluxe coming. We've got Pinball Champ Deluxe eventually at some point. Time Machine Deluxe at some point. And then you got all those EM Plus games, which they've already announced 12 of them, correct? I think it's 12 of them. I believe it would be all 22. Yes, all 22 would be coming as part of that refresh. They are not going to be missing any of those. Pinball Bites, aptly named. Do we know the tables that are being redone, the change of physics? Mad Ben Han, we don't know whether or not they're changing the physics or not, but I would think that they're going to do some level of tweaking for them. But he did say it will be all 22, and I did confirm that in the interview as well. So definitely check that out if you haven't. Do we know for sure the EM tables are coming to AtGames? I don't know for sure, but I would have to believe that they're coming. As they're starting to come out more and more and more on the Zachariah system, I would think it's going to get to kind of a critical mass situation where you'd think we're going to start to see those. I agree with Fat Hog. The EM Plus tables are pretty darn good. I absolutely agree with you. One of my favorites so far is Combat. That is an absolutely awesome game. And there's some really good sleeper tables in there too. So I think you're going to be really excited to play a lot of those EM Plus games. Really good stuff for sure. Yeah. Okay, so Pinball Bites. We got to talk about Pinball Bites. So this one, this is a tough one, folks, because I think we were all super anticipating what AtGames was going to get from Zen. But remember, this is a digital pinball channel, so it's not necessarily everything for AtGames. While we do a lot of AtGames content on this channel, this announcement basically kind of dropped the bomb on us that we're not getting the AtGames versions. So here we are. We're going to switch over to a quick trailer of the Pinball Bites, and we're going to show the tables that we have. You instantly see the Fallout helmet on Balti here, and you also notice Judge Dredd, a table on the back right here. So here is Fallout. So this is the big announcement of the legendary franchises that we didn't have before. This was kind of a letdown. I think I anticipated it being Aliens, but they did say it was going to be a return of a franchise. This is not the one that I expected, quite frankly. But it is what it is. Mecklenburg, welcome to the stream, buddy. They AtGames will need extra releases if Zen bails. Now, I don't know if Zen's bailing. Certainly, this is a release that's doesn't appear to be coming to AtGames, but we don't even know that yet. This is being classified as a Pinball M release, and it sounds like maybe, I don't know for sure, that they are going to start to fall back from some of the Pinball M games. We do have parental controls, though, so I don't even know why they wouldn't. Although I would say it's probably smart of AtGames to fall out of the day-and-date release schedule of Zen Games, or Zen Studios, because of the issues that we've had on AtGames. Now, by issues, I simply mean things like sound effects kit, and some of the music has been a little bit off on some of the Zen tables as of late. Swords of Fury, as we know, had issues with the sound that has not been patched. Black Knight 2000 has definitely seen some audio issues that was covered last week. Pinball Wizard's channel, definitely. Again, if you haven't subscribed to Pinball Wizard, make sure that you do. Get him up to 50 at the very least. He did a really good video on Black Knight 2000. He had some crazy errors on that thing that we have not got patches on. Also, in quite frankly, we haven't seen patches from Zen Studios at all on the AtGames system. So, talk about disappointing. Pinball Bites, it is what it is, right? I mean, these games are pretty cool. I will say Fallout and Skyrim are okay at best. The thing I don't like about them is that they are very slow games. A lot of times you have to stop gameplay, either to do things like shops or to adjust items. They're more role-playing-esque type of games, whereas Doom is a much better game. The color shifts in Doom are absolutely fantastic. I could have launched it here today and just showed some of the gameplay, but we're going to keep that for another time. But these games were deliberately left off of AtGames as far as the symbols, so we don't know yet if these are coming to AtGames at a later date or if they're just not coming at all. I know there's definitely some speculation that, the relationship from AtGames and Zen Studios is in some type of turmoil. We don't know any official word on that. Mel Kirk was pretty harsh to AtGames as far as calling the AtGames system a potato, essentially saying that it was underpowered. But as we know, everything else that we get from Magic Pixel has been 4K, 60 FPS with no problems. Animated back glasses, the whole bit. So, who knows, man? I would love to see them just drop everything Zen on this platform. One of my biggest things is, though, if they're struggling to get games to run well at 1440p or 1260p even, just drop everything to 1080p. Make them the same across the board. Do it for the HDP, do it for the 4K system, do them at 1080p 60 and just call it a day. If that gives us some back glass integration, I'd be all for it. If it gives us better sound effects kit, I'm all for it. I don't think anybody cares whatsoever if they're actual 4K or not. I think that ship has sailed. I think we would all be just fine with it 1080p on the 4K or the HDP. But just release the games. We just got Black Knight 2000. It's heavily rumored that we're going to get Earthshaker at some point. And then beyond that, we don't know. We don't know. There's lots of games out there that we never got. There's all kinds of Zen originals. There's all kinds of wildcard games like Goat Simulator and Pinball, Princess Bride rather. Lots of different tables out there that we haven't seen. So who knows? Circus Voltaire, Skies, Safecracker, Bonsai Run. There's all kinds of ones that we just never got. So Fat Hog has also removed the AtGames logo from all of their promotional material on their site. So Fat Hog, I actually went to their site today and started to look into this a little bit. It's not actually true. Now, yes, the AtGames logo is not on the page. If you look at Zen Studios' website, so in fact, we'll just go there right now. Let's do this. Zen Studios. Okay. Games. And I'm going to display here. So if we look at the actual games here, and you click here, and you say, look what it shows here. So we're looking at the collection here for Bethesda Pinball, and it says buy now, and it only has a Steam logo on it, right? That's to be expected. If you click on Elvira, notice here, again, no AtGames logo. People are freaking out. Where's the AtGames logo? Well, let me tell you. If you look at this, you'll notice it says buy now. You cannot buy Elvira online in any capacity. You can only buy it on device on the AtGames system. So I don't know that this really means anything, quite frankly. I started to look into this too, and I was like, that's not really true, because if you click on like a Nintendo Switch link here, it's going to take you to the Nintendo website to purchase the game. So this is not accurate. You guys are making stuff up. So it is what it is. Yes, the logos have been disappearing off their website, but in this capacity, the buy now option is what they're referring to. So I don't know that that's accurate. So it is what it is, man. Yes, there is certainly... do we know that there's trouble in Paradise? Maybe. We don't know that for sure. So, at any rate, it's a good observation for sure. I definitely looked at it myself as well, too, Fat Hog. I did look at it. Soggy Bacon says Fallout is my favorite IP of the bunch. But it's my least favorite in the pack. I have them on mobile. My personal favorite is Doom by far, and I'm not a huge Doom fan necessarily. I told you I played Doom 16 on Nintendo Switch and loved it. Indie. Jay says he wants Indie. I mean, that would be a great choice. I think that would easily be a $20 game because of the IP significance, but man, a fantastic game nonetheless. Fat Hug says I have a 4K monitor with a PAPS V-pin. I run everything at 1440 to get over FPS over 100. At 4K, I only get 65 to 70, so you're talking, there's definitely some hardware limitations there. A Farley 17 says, I'm so glad that I sold my AtGames 4K and build my own VPN. It blows the AtGames 4K out of the water. So there is options out there, yes. If you're not, if you have the funds and you're willing to go with like a Ultra VPN or a Super VPN drive or something like that, you can certainly go that route. You can build your own custom cabinet via pinballcabinet.com. I went and looked at some of their stuff today. You can buy flat packs, if you will, where you have to build the cabinet yourself for $1,000. Then you can have it fully fleshed out for about $4,000, and then you still have to add a PC. So if you have the funds, you can definitely get in and do that. On the low end, however, and at a really good price point, you can get the AtGames 4KP, and you can do VPX standalone and things like that, and actually play things that way. So that's the route I've gone. It's certainly not the best way to do it. You can also do OTG for a cost, but it is what it is. I'll take all the Zen games at 1080p. I play the heck out of VPX, and the graphics are not as good. I agree, Soggy Bacon. VPX is great to a point. But graphically, at least on standalone, they just can't hold their own graphically. Graphics are not king, variety and great tables are. I'm totally with you on that. Leon says, assume the worst and you can't be disappointed. That's true, but you're also robbing yourself of joy. Enjoy what we have on this system. I think we've covered over 30 Williams tables, and I think there's over 50 Zen tables on here now. So we have a lot of tables from Zen. Probably most of the best ones, I would venture to say, quite frankly. There's a few outliers, of course, but Circus Voltaire being one of the biggest. But yeah, definitely, for sure. I mean, everybody wants them. We all want what we want. And we hope that that relationship is strong, but we'll see. Yeah, but even the splash screens that aren't clickable links don't have the AtGames logos anymore. Fair enough, Fat Hog, and we'll see. I'm not really sure what's going on there. Zen Studios has gone through a lot of restructuring, and they've been purchased as of late October, so from the Embracer Group and all that stuff. So there's all kinds of stuff going on in there. I would think that the relationship needs to be refreshed legally. So we had mentioned Mel Kirk's comments may or may not have been some type of legal negotiation in that regard. So I'd be curious to see what they're really doing with that. Fat Hawk says you just ordered a new VA pin for $4,800 with all the bells and whistles. PC is just okay, but I didn't want theirs anyway. Fair enough. Dead Halius says AtGames seems like the best value. I'm hooked into making my own. I've looked into making my own, and it's always been pricey. I am totally with you, man. My buddy Matt I've done a lot of content on it on the Ultra V pin that he bought. He spent about $9,000 on that thing, and it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong, it's fantastic. It has, I think it has 7 different solenoids on that to take care of things like pop bumpers and flippers and the sound quality, the LEDs. It has a tilt bob, so you can actually do shimmy nudges on that, which is fantastic. I love that aspect. It has total nuclear annihilation, which absolutely blew my mind. One of my absolute favorite pinball tables, and it is available on VPX, but certainly not. The AtGames system is not capable of running that game at 60 FPS or anywhere near that. So, sadly, there are things that we cannot get, and that those games or those systems are definitely capable of. So, Twilight Beats, I'm with you, man. I love the 4KP. I absolutely love it. For the price point, there is nothing better in the pinball space. And I've been playing the X Arcade. We'll talk about that in a little bit too. The X Arcade is awesome for a lot of different things with a MetaQuest 3 headset. We're missing a lot of games for that. And the haptics kit is got its issues. I've pointed out some of those. I do have a link to that on some of the shorts that I did on it as well. I'm having audio screaming from it, from the system, which they told me to buy this ground loop cable, which I bought for $10, and it has not helped. So we'll cover that a little bit too, but yeah, there's definitely some concerns there for sure. On standalone resolution is largely dependent on who wrote the table and the platform and features that they used. JP Solid's tables run perfect and look fantastic. Pinball Wizard, you have become an absolute expert on all things standalone in my Discord. So here's another call out to the Discord. If you have not been a part of my Discord, definitely consider it. I think we're up to 135-ish members now, and they're absolutely fantastic people. The Discord is exclusively pinball, other than some community stuff where we talk about men's supporting one another. There is some Lego conversation that I've added in there because I love Legos. You can kind of see them over there. And then we have a little bit of, we have a one channel for Walkabout Golf if you wanted to meet up and do some of that too. So, but the Discord is really awesome. Anyone interested in Fat Hog's new table, come join us in the RTX Discord. Absolutely. And we have actually been covering the Beamy, Matt, and Spectre Gaming have all got V pins fairly recently. I think the Beamy's had his for a while. But there are some experts in that field in the Discord if you want to talk more about V-pin cabinets as opposed to AtGames VPX. So there's definitely some experts in our Discord as well. So I checked that link today. It looks like a phenomenal deal. Yeah, there really is. There's lots of good deals out there for sure to get a cabinet like that. And then Soggy Bacon, of course, you have a real pinball machine as well. Right now I'm looking into a mini PC to mount on the back of mine for the VPX. That's a possibility as well. Good stuff. If we've gotten all the Zen we're getting, that's fine with me, says Wingo. You know, I wouldn't necessarily throw the baby out with the bathwater just yet. I still think we're going to get a lot of Zen tables on the 4KP and the HDP. but we'll see what the schedule is. There needs to be some type of agreement. I think at some point, either AtGames or Zen need to come out and make a public announcement of sorts of how that relationship is. I actually texted Balti in the Zen Studios Discord today to try to get to ask for an interview with Mel Kirk. I think that would be fantastic to talk specifically about the AtGames relationship. Whether or not they'll honor that or not, who knows? But I think it would be a great conversation to have. So, the Pinball Post is an hour or so of Pinball Bliss every week. RTX Discord is 168 hours of Pinball Bliss every week. Yes, thank you for that, Soggy Bacon. It really is. The Discord is absolutely hopping. There's always, I can't keep up with it anymore. When I originally created the Discord, I never expected to do much, and it has just absolutely blossomed. So between the YouTube channel at over 830 users now, and the Discord with over 135, you guys have certainly embraced digital pinball and, of course, my passion for it, and have been part of this amazing community. So I thank each and every one of you for considering and taking the time to be a part of that in any level that you choose to do it. So, awesome. I think Zen is coming, but they need to redo the contract. I feel like Marvel and Star Wars HDP are going to print money when they release. I am so with you, Fat Hog. I completely agree, man. Dennis Mangle, welcome. It's Gamer God 2, I think it is. Hello. Twilight Bit says AtGames just posted on Facebook saying all relationships for 2026 will not change. Yeah, and let's talk about that. I actually have a snippet of that. So let's go ahead and bring that up. Great segue, man. I appreciate you for that. So this right here was a notification that came out on the 23rd, and it says, "Attention Pinball Community." This basically was in response to Pinball Bites. And it said, "We wanted to share a quick update on 2026 pinball table releases. We're continue collaborating with our existing partners, Zen and Magic Pixel, and building out our digital pinball library to bring you lots of exciting new content, plus some surprises for the entire Legends product line." So there's lots of news there that they're not telling us. At the same time, we're also developing AtGames original tables that we can't wait to reveal with our this is new owners deals event, National Owners Day, event coming in February. You also expect some great deals and promotions along the way. 2026 is shaping up to be an amazing year. Stay tuned. We'll share updates as soon as they're available. So I think what he's saying in there is, hey, we have good relationships. They are existing and they're continuing. And like I said, if we just look on the surface level, I could see easily 50 games coming to the AtGames 4KP this year between the EM Plus games. Again, not confirmed that they're coming, but you got to believe they are. Deluxe tables that we haven't gotten yet from Zachariah. The 22 tables, technically they're not new tables for the Gottlieb refresh, but they are coming. So those are all coming as well. Lots of stuff to cover, so... At any rate, Chinese knockoffs, Legos, and stuff you can't normally get. Johnny 5. I do have the Johnny 5. He's over there. He's kind of on the bottom. I don't know if you could see him over there. Is he off screen? He totally is off screen. Maybe you can see him on the spot. So, yeah, you can see him in the corner here. Right here. There's Johnny 5. That is a mock that I got from, I think, Temu or something like that. It was like $15. Anyway, you're getting me off. You get me started on Legos. I'll talk forever on that. I could do a whole channel on Legos, too, between all the Speed Champions, the F1 cars, all the different Legos that I have. I have the Atari. I have the NES. So lots of great stuff there, too. If someone could post a screenshot of the Facebook post stating in the Discord, much appreciated. Some of us aren't on Facebook. So, oh, never mind. Retro's doing it live. Yes, I am. So this was the channel here. If there's been anything else from here, I haven't seen it yet. So, but I believe this is the one that you were talking about. So definitely a great segue, and I'm glad you brought that up. So it definitely needed to be talked about. The only other thing that I want to bring up about Pinball Bites and the AtGames Zen relationship is this here. So this is on Zen Studios. This is on Facebook again. I know a lot of you do not have Facebook, and I totally get that. So I like to try to bring some of that stuff to you in some capacity on the Pinball post, so I can cover most of the big bits that you do not see. This is a Zen Studios post, and almost every single one of these comments has Doom, but I haven't heard them coming to the 4KP. Is this coming to the 4KP? We want more AtGames. Tough choice, but I prefer Doom's theming best. Hopefully I get to experience it on the 4KP. So clearly, people want Zen Studios games on the 4KP. They aren't playing. Every single time we see a Zen Studios post, whether it be on X, Twitter, or Facebook, they're always talking about the 4KP. People want their Zen Studios games on the 4KP. So whether or not the relationship is good or not, there is definitely demand. There's no consideration outside of that. People on the 4KP are absolutely waiting with time and money. They got stacks. They got stacks of money just ready to buy Zen Studios games on the 4KP. And a lot of us are double dipping, let's be honest. We're buying them for the X Arcade and VR like I do, and then we buy them on the 4KP anyway because it's a better experience. The sound effects kit is fantastic. There's no question. Being able to stand up next to a pinball machine in your house and play with your family, there is no better experience. Yes, there is VPX. Yes, people like VR. I totally get it. VR has less latency. Yes, I know. The X Arcade is pretty cool, and we'll talk about that in a little bit too. No question. There's no question about any of that. It's all fantastic. But people love their 4KP. Because of the price point and where it is in the market, people that can't afford real pinball machines or they can't afford the expensive V-Pins get an AtGames system, and they have access. The same thing that you had the Arcade 1-Up back in the day that did a really bad job. A 720p display. It was quite small. They weren't connected to the internet. Arcade 1-Up did a terrible job on it. AtGames has filled the gap and done a very nicely job. Quite frankly, I'm more disappointed in Zen Studios at this point than I am with AtGames, because the games that we do have from Zen Studios aren't even getting patched. There's games like Samurai Vengeance that is completely broken. I bought that game 6 months ago, and I still can't play it. So, Zen, seriously, man, you need somebody to go back and fix some of these games on the AtGames platform. Forget about 4K resolution. None of us care. Get it off of 1440p. Get it off of 1260p. Just put everything at 1080p and release it on AtGames. Make it work. I'm going to get you two kids together, and I'm going to smash your heads together. Figure it out. Get the games on AtGames and quit messing around. It's quite frankly, I'm sick of hearing about it. They just need to do it. So, there. I've said my piece on it. Maybe that's too harsh. I love you both, Zen and AtGames. Get it right. Just get it done. Java, what are we doing, man? Good evening, good morning. All late here, but he was just playing Walkabout. That's a great game, man. We talked about that a little bit too. What's with the secrecy? Why don't they share more often, like a preview of the games in development, like what Xbox or Sony does? Are you referring to Zen, or are we referring to AtGames? Because they did before, and when they couldn't deliver, we beat them up for it. So we told them to get rid of the calendars. They did, and we get shadow drops now, which quite frankly has been really nice. You never know what's coming, and then poof, the next day you have an awesome game to play. So. Preach, the Steinman says. Preach, brother Jay. Yeah, you guys, I'm glad you appreciate my candor with that. Maybe that's too harsh. Who knows? I might get an email like, what are you doing? Stop it. But you know what? I'm going to say what I'm going to say. I can't be in integrity if I don't speak my piece. And even when it's hard, you gotta tell people what you mean, what matters to you, what your boundaries are. You got to speak your piece. So do it. Hey, you said it, right, Gong? I mean, it's just what it is. And can I acknowledge just for a second, 41 viewers in this show. I don't think I've ever had more than 30 people on this show. So the fact that there's 41 people here tells me that we're doing something right in this community. So thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you. This channel has grown organically from the very beginning, and it's going to continue to do so. We're going to get to 1,000 at some point in the future, and it's going to be a day to celebrate. We'll do some giveaways and different things like that. But man, it's just going to grow as it grows, and I've been very happy with that. So thank you for all of you for checking out this channel and being a part of this community. So awesome to see everybody here. Leon says, Zen's biggest fear is, but the Magic Pixel tables look so much better. Yeah, man. Magic Pixel tables are great. And I know that now we have Scott Shelton working at AtGames and doing the AtGames originals. I am super excited to see what his next 2 tables look like. He had mentioned in the interview that he has learned a lot from Firefighter Wildlands, from Baby Shark, and of course Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a fantastic game. Love to see what his next 2 tables are going to look like, what they're going to play like. He mentioned he really likes modes. We've mentioned about this. He mentioned that he's going to take out the center post to one of the future tables, so we can't complain about that anymore. If you guys complain about it, I swear to God, he's going to be upset because we told him to take the center post out. So if that's a thing, make sure that we cover that. So, all right. One thing we didn't cover, and I need to get this out of the way, and I think this is a fantastic. Our community grew this week, not just in the number of people watching the show, but literally grew. This week, Tomato Grass, his family had a new addition to the family. Tomato Grass. This is Garrett and Cassidy and their newborn baby Olivia. We're so excited. We have a new Tomato Grass and a new pinball fan in this community. Congratulations to Tomato Grass and Cassidy. Awesome. So cool to see that this is a thing. She was born just yesterday, and that is why Flipper Battles has been postponed, and Battle of the Streamers Season 3 is kind of pushed a little bit. So definitely, yeah. Really, really cool to see some new people coming into this. We do need more kids and women in pinball, but Olivia might be a little young to be pushing flippers just yet. So just a matter of time. So Dennis says we need more Baby Shark easy modes. Scott Shelton even mentioned this in the interview. He likes ball saves and kickbacks, and he also likes kid modes. But he did mention that they feel like they learned something that they should do separate leaderboards for those. So hopefully that's true in the future. Would love, love, love to see more kids modes, more accessibility for new players. Obviously, I did a quick tutorial for kids on how to play, what it's like to play on the system. Get yourself a stool. Don't hit both flippers at the same time and things like that. So there's all kinds of little things that they can do. And then I have a whole series of tutorials if you're a new pinball player too, so to get used to it. Olivia can probably already beat me on the leaderboard, says Soggy Bacon. Let's not put too much pressure on her just yet. She needs to open her eyes a little more before she plays pinball. So congrats on the growth, RTX Gong. Thank you. I appreciate you, man. It's people like yourself who started to show up out of the blue and just continue to come back and continue to watch this channel and watch me grow, not only in the live streams, but also the pinball posts. So it's been fantastic. Congratulations on the tiny blade of tomato grass. That's right, point of blame, and welcome to the stream. Legend Odinson says, I think a lot of the early Magic Pixel Deluxe tables have too long and easy to activate ball saves. It's fair enough. They're not all. It's not always a good thing necessarily, and with being able to do death saves on Magic Pixel tables, I know I mentioned it in the interview too that they need to do something about the death saves. They need to nerf the up nudge or something to get that out of the game. They need to do something about that. So, Pinball Wizard also says, my monitor, and make sure that you're subbed to him. If you have not subbed to Pinball Wizard, make sure that you do so. I think that's the third time I've proclaimed that, so make sure that you're doing it. I want to get him up to 50 subs as soon as possible. The way kids modes is, it's like getting 2 games in one, so long as the leaderboards are separate, and they'd be hugely, hugely welcomed. Huge. welcomed. I completely agree. I encourage those of you who play Baby Shark to play Shark mode. It's actually pretty awesome. I know it's got Baby Shark music, but Scott did a fantastic job with the modes on that game. Between the pals modes and doing the different modes, it actually is a really, really fun game. Do not sleep on that game. It's actually really fun. Playing these games is not always about the score. Playing the wizard modes is really, really cool. I know for a fact I'm going to go back and play Firefighter Wildlands just for the modes. There's a lot of value there that has not been tapped into because we're so focused on big scores for Flipper Friends and things like that. So definitely go back, play those games, and enjoy them. There's so much more value in these tables, especially the AtGames originals, than we actually anticipate a lot of times. So, yippee chicken, love your channel. You seem like a stand-up guy, dude. I appreciate it. Thank you for that. I think I am. I try to keep things neat and tidy here. I don't have a lot of guests. Scott was the first guest on this show because I'm very protective of this brand, quite frankly, and I want to keep it a wonderful community for everybody involved, and I want to make sure that people are treated properly and things like that. So I keep things pretty tidy around here for sure. The Discord's the same way. I do not tolerate people getting on. If you're insulting people directly, that's not going to be tolerated. This community is I'm very protective of the community that I keep, and you guys are all a wonderful part of that. So definitely, I try to do my best on that. Oh, I showed my boss at work my Pinball Micro. He was super interested and wanted to buy a 4KP. But the brick is no longer selling them, so no way to buy the 4KP now in Canada. That's too bad. Gong Ryan, I think you're right, man. I think they do need to figure out how they're going to do that. We did mention last week that they're starting to sell 4KPs on Amazon. So I'm hoping that extends to Canada and some international sales as well. We'll see. Yeah, Wingo, that's what I said, man. We're over 40 viewers on this, so this channel is continuing to grow. This show is continuing to do well. I'm blown away, quite frankly. So I'm very humbled that anybody would want to watch me talk about pinball, but it is what it is, man. It's like going bowling with adults or bowling with children with bumper bowling. Both are fun, and the way you play them changes. Absolutely. Pinball Wizard. Jabba says, just check the ice scored. Some big scores went up on good games today, guys. Yeah, we're going to cover that too. So lots of good stuff. So next week's games for Flipper Friends, let's cover that real briefly. We don't know for sure what they are. I have an inclination as to what they are. I'm not going to give it away just yet. But it looks like next week is going to be Polar Expedition, which another fantastic game. Another AtGames original, which I really love. You could really get some big scores on that. Super fun table. And the two to be announced games, I assume, are going to be some things that we've recently got that we've never played in our Flipper Friends event. So that's pretty straightforward. I'll let you guys speculate on what you think that is. We've gotten quite a few tables as of recently, and there are probably a couple of those. That's pretty straightforward, right? The Micro is basically a clearance item with little to no margin left. It might not make financial sense to go through the expense of exporting to Canada, unfortunately. You may be right on that. And finally got some legs for my Micro, thinking about getting the plunger mod from Etsy. Legend Odinson, I actually was going to consider doing that, but I was having some trouble with my Micro, so I fixed it up the best I could and actually sold it. I might get another one. We'll see. Mad Dog, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the stream, man. I've seen you before, but it's good to see you again. Okay, let's see. Couple more things. This is a real brief one. If for some reason you choose to contribute to this channel, I have made the change to the thing. I've got, instead of a Venmo link now, I have the Buy Me a Coffee link that has been is much more common in the creator space. So I put that up as well. So here's the QR code for that if you feel like you want to contribute. You can also do that through Super Chats. You can do that through memberships to the YouTube channel. Those are different options. And there is some perks on my Discord as well. I have some exclusive channels that if you're a member on my YouTube channel, you get exclusive access on the Discord too. So there's some kind of things that kind of go together for that as well. That's all I'll say about that. So this next portion of the show is going to be about the daily grind. So if you are not part of the Discord, I encourage you to consider being part of the Discord, because we are going to talk about the Daily Grind tournament, which is exclusive to the RTX Pinball community, but not the access is not exclusive to the community, but the tips and tricks and the conversations around the tables certainly are. If you do the plunger mod, make sure you let us know how it goes. I'm interested in it, but not ready to pull the trigger or the plunger on it yet, Pinball Wizard says. You'd like to see, and Dead Dalius said, Dead Hey Dalius. I think I don't even know how to say that. I'm really sorry, man. Dead Hey Dallas. Dead Hey Dallas? I don't know. I'm going to get that. I'm going to figure it out. If you could spell that phonetically in the chat, I will figure it out, and I'll never get it wrong again. Fat Hog corrected me. We got him right. So, love to see more Taito pins, is what you're saying. Absolutely, man. Taito games were awesome. Some of them are a little buggy, but there's a lot of great tables there for sure. So, okay. So, Daily Grind. What is the Daily Grind? I've done a whole video on it, but basically it's a tournament that we do on my Discord. Again, you do not need to be part of the Discord to do it. Actually, one last thing. Let's show off the Zachariah EM tables that came out today. We did not show those, so let's go back for just a quick second. EM tables. So right here, let's cover these. I should have done this earlier. My apologies. I told you the show would suck, and here we are, 40 users, and I've missed things. So here is this is Star God. EM Plus. Looks like a really cool table. I love the artwork. These tables are more simplistic in nature and have some really good shots. There's no center posts, so nobody complain about that. This one is Magic Castle. Again, pretty cool. Has 6 bumpers, and one of the bumpers kind of down on the bottom right here. That could be kind of fun and kind of an issue. It could be kind of cool. I love that they're doing these tables. This is Stars Phoenix, which has a really cool kind of, this is like a faux roulette type of thing going on up here. Really cool type of playfield. Love the artwork. I know obviously some of these are AI generated, and of course here is Tropical EM Plus. This table is awesome. If you have not played this, it is really, really good. The music is really good. The Tropical series in general on the AtGames system has been really good in general. So definitely pick this one up if you haven't already. You like at least 8 of the 12 EM Plus tables so far. Looking forward to them coming to the 4KP. I am totally with you, man. Taito. Taito. Yeah, you're talking about Taito. Yeah, absolutely. That's Deadhead Alias. Deadhead Alias. Deadhead Alias. Alice? Deadhead Alice. I think I could do that. we'll figure it out, man. Yes, so that was the tables for the Zen, I'm sorry, not Zen, Zachariah Table Pack 3. Let's talk about Locomotion Deluxe, which we didn't cover. This is another really cool table. I got to play this one. I just bought this one. It's the first time I played it. If you want to see these games in action right now, go over to New Leaf 88's YouTube channel. He did gameplay on Locomotive Deluxe as well as the EM Plus tables, and I think he did the Falling Aces too, so definitely check those out if you haven't already. Gong Ryan says he loves Tropical Remake, but I hate calling it when losing the ball. It says shame every time. I hate that. LOL. I hear you, man. So this one here, Locomotion Deluxe, really cool looking table. It's kind of a gunfight. It's kind of like a Wild Western theming to it. It's got some train noises in it. It's got the train in the back, which is very reminiscent of kind of like a Wild West Rampage. This is a really cool game. So definitely check this out. I'm hoping that these ones comes to AtGames at some point. I think they will. Like I said, all of the deluxe tables pretty much have at this point, so we're going to see those. And then the Falling Aces pack. This is really wild too. These games, this is the retro table, and I know that I love the black and white theme of this one, but I don't know why they did the flippers like this. It really hurts the value to me doing those stupid little flippers and on just a completely weird flipper layout. Really a shame for this one. This is what would be considered kind of like the remake or the EM Plus type of version. Kind of cool looking. And again, these are taken off the Steam website for the store. This would be like your remake version, which has got really cool kind of a cartoon graphics here, which I think is pretty cool. Kind of a comic book theme going on. And then, of course, this would be like your deluxe version. So this table looks awesome. It's got the upper playfield. It has a mech there that looks like he's probably going to grab the ball with his big, huge hands there and put it on, maybe put it on the upper playfield or something like that. Who knows? Looks really cool. Fallen Aces looks kind of awesome. So definitely some value there if you're looking for more pinball. There is plenty of digital pinball available to all of us, so there's no excuse. And as always, you've got Zen Pinball World on mobile for absolutely for free if you want to play pinball that way. So there's no excuse as far as playing pinball anywhere. All right, back to the daily grind. So for those of you who have been playing in the daily grind, I just want to say thank you. This tournament has been absolutely incredible. Again, this is another one of those things that I just threw together and thought, you know what, no one's going to play this. Nobody wants to play these games like I do. Boy, was I wrong, because look at this leaderboard. This is 1 week's time, folks. This is 1 week's time. We have 20, I think it's 22 people in here. There's 23 people that played this week's tournaments, or this week's games. We've had as many as 26 in the past. Any one of you, even if you're not in the Discord, you're certainly eligible to play in the daily grind. Look up the RTX Pinball Discord. I've got a link to this in the description of this video as well. You're always welcome to submit a score. Just make sure that you find a way to contact me so that if you did win, you get to pick the game for the following day. So definitely do that. As of right now, you have about another 45 minutes to get your final scores in for Moonflight. Stein the Man has absolutely killed my score. At 125 million was leading for a short time, but Stein the Man has completely annihilated me on that. You can see here from Black Rose all the way to the left. Black Rose, Exoplanets, Firefighter Wildlands, Godzilla vs. Kong, Jack's Open, No Good Gophers, and Moonflight were the 7 tables that were played this week. For the daily grind. Now the daily grind is for tables that are available on the AtGames system. They don't necessarily have to be played on the AtGames system, but they have to be available on the AtGames system. So you can play these on Zachariah Pinball, you can play these on Zen Pinball World, you can play them on VPX. However you can play them is totally fine. And you could still submit scores for these. These next ones, Moonflight Deluxe is a good one. I completely agree with you, Mad Ben. I loved it, and sadly, with all the work that I've been doing with the interviews and stuff with the X Arcade, doing the installs and stuff like that, I have not been able to play enough of these tables this week. Exoplanets, I absolutely loved, didn't get to play it. Firefighter Wildlands, didn't get to play it. No Good Gophers, didn't get to play it. There's so many tables here that I would have loved to have actually played and tried to challenge some of you guys. But man, the scores are just off the charts awesome. So I'm so excited. Dang, I didn't know the daily grind was a thing. I will definitely be joining. Jay, welcome, man. I know you're brand new to the Discord. This is a thing, and it's huge. I mean, it's absolutely huge. And every one of these tables gets talked about all during the day. So if you don't know how to play the table, somebody will teach it to you. There's always somebody in the chat talking about the tips and tricks and how to play the game. We take over back glasses every day, quite frankly. Some of these tables are just, a lot of these scores are up on the back glass right now. If you go through and look at some of these tables, you will see back glass scores almost every day. It is absolutely insane. The other thing that we do, and we've included now, are VPX tables in the last couple months now. We do 2 VPX tables per week, so that's a weekly grind, if you will. Congo VPX and South Park VPX were this week's tables. And currently, Bofke and Soggy Bacon are leading the way with those. When this at 11 o'clock, these tables will be wiped, and 2 new VPX tables will be. Now again, these are VPX tables, so they do not necessarily have to be available on the AtGames system. They can be anywhere. So if you're on a VPN and you want to play in the daily grind, you can do that. If you have VR, we have one VR game per week. Because of the limited number of games on VR, we limit it to 1 game per week, but it's on Pinball Pinball FX VR. This week's game was Xena, and Jabba is leading the way. If you have followed Jabba in the past, he's done a VR tournament forever. He was the one who actually gave me the I scored to be able to do the daily grind to this capacity. And then lastly, the thing we're doing now is called the monthly grind, which is for real pinball tables. So way over here at the right, over here, underneath the chat, we have real pinball. And so this month was Real Medieval Madness. So this table will always be on the far right. And this week, we got Anthony, who is Zaschi, which is actually my son-in-law, or pseudo-son-in-law. He's leading the way right now. And you'll notice if you click on these have to be pictures from the real tables. So Zen Pinball and all of those scores are not available. You cannot upload those to the real pinball. These are strictly for real pinball tables. So you have to submit those properly. So you'll see these are actual tables. In this case, it didn't matter if it was Chicago Gaming or an original Medieval Madness. It just had to be a real table. And then Ballydurn put up 19 million on that one as well. My score was only about 20 million, and I didn't even submit it because I was playing with Anthony, who is Zazji, and he destroyed my score. So I was like, whatever, I'm not even going to post it. I probably should have for the weekly overall leaders, but I did not. So right now we have a monthly grind, a weekly grind, which is the VPX and VR, and of course the daily grind, which is tables that are available on the AtGames system. So as you can see, a ton of people play this tournament. And like I said, the best part about this tournament is the conversation surrounding them. So it's the tips, it's the tricks, it's the encouragement. It doesn't matter if you're winning or if you're a dead last. We can't have repeat winners every day. So if you have a repeat winner and you're dead last, if you've competed, you're eligible to pick a table. So the winner will actually appoint somebody else in the list to pick a table for the following day. So it doesn't matter if you're first or last, there's always a chance that you'll get to pick a table. And if you haven't picked a table and you've been participating for a while, let me know. We'll make sure that you get to pick a table. We want people to tell us their favorite tables and get people playing games across the board. So, like I said, you have about 45 minutes to get your final scores in for the daily grind for this week. And amazing. So, I've missed a lot of chat, so we're going to get back over to there. Legend Odin says, I missed Pinball Arcade. I almost had all of them on Android. Oh, yeah. I had some really good games on PSP and stuff, too. And Android, I never really played a ton of them on there, but believe it or not, there are nearly 80 real pins within 25 miles of my house. Not a single Medieval Madness. What? That is crazy, Fat Hog. Usually, Medieval Madness is pretty much everywhere, so pretty crazy to hear. There are 2 Medieval Madness near me, and they're both beat to heck. Yeah, Steinman. That's kind of the gist for real pinball. A lot of them are in pretty poor condition, so that is always a shame. So that's the reason we do a monthly for the real pinball. Not everybody has access to real pinball. Sometimes you have to go. I know Pinball Wizard, you drive quite a ways at times to go play some real pinball at Cactus Canyon. I know you said it's pretty close to you, or not close to you, but within driving distance. So, any more thought on the timing change? Say noon instead of 11 p.m. Yes, Fat Hog. I need to put up a poll for that to try to get some more input on that. I have talked with my moderators about it, Soggy Bacon and Pinball Wizard. We really haven't come to a consensus on that, so we'll figure that out. Yeah, and people that have lots of pinball around them, it's fantastic. It's awesome, and I am blessed very much in the Detroit area that I have multiple areas that have between 50 and 70 games each, in like 3 or 4 different places. Most of them are $20 to play for as much as you want, and then some of them are coin drop. Ulix in Monroe, south of me, about 45 minutes or so, actually has Dune, and some of the Merlin's Arcade, and some of the Turner pinball games, which you can see on my water bottle. They have Ninja Eclipse, which I really love. I wish they made more of that game. Really awesome game. Used to be a shadow table at my local Mexican restaurant, but it shut down. Legend Odinson, man, that sucks. Sky Pirates for VR next week, please. I've not played it yet. Let's see who's winning. So Xena, Jabba, you are winning Xena. So if you want to play Sky Pirates, I hope you can hang on to that. And it will be Sky Pirates. So I assume that's going to be your pick. So unless anybody can beat Jabba in the next 45 minutes, we are playing Sky Pirates for next week for VR. So, and I'm pretty excited about that because I really haven't played much on that either. So we'll definitely get into that. All right, guys. Well, that is the show for this week. We've gone almost an hour. We've gone an hour and 20 minutes, believe it or not. So I will leave you with that. I am going to lock all these games up in just another 45 minutes, and we will start submitting. We'll start seeing new tables for next week. So thank you all for coming. I appreciate all your time and all of the amazing contributions that you make to this channel, whether it be a sub, a like, whether or not you're in the Discord or not, doesn't matter. I appreciate you all. Play lots of pinball. Stay warm. And as always, you only need one ball for greatness. Keep plunging, and we'll see you guys next time.